What's up, guys? We're doing questions number 17 through 20, and let's get right into it. All right, guys, so like always with this type of problem, it's a good idea to just start by trying to understand what this graph is actually trying to tell you before you go into the problems, all right? So let's go ahead and see here. We have a distribution of the 50 states of the United States by population in the year 2000, and we have the population of each state is rounded to the nearest 0.1 million people. All right, so the first little section here is population category, so we have some letters here. Not totally sure what that's about yet, but let's go to the next one. Here we have population in millions, and we know it's rounded to the nearest 0.1 million, and it's a range. Then we have the number of states, okay? So we have just whole numbers here, so that looks pretty nice. So what I'm deducing from this right now is that it looks like we have the number of states that fall within this population range, and we're going to give those states this category A through H, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to question number 17. Okay, so the first question is, how many of the 50 states were in the 5 population categories from A through E? Okay, so we're looking at here, A through E, and we're trying to figure out how many of the 50 states. So we're just going to go ahead and add up all these values, okay? So let's do A, B, C, D, and E, and let's figure out how many are in each of these categories. So for A, we have, looks like 15. For B, we have 9. For C, it looks like we're going to have 12. D, we're going to have 3. And E, we're going to have 4. So let's go ahead and add up all those values. So let's see here. 15 plus 12 is going to be 27, plus 9 plus 3 plus 4. 27 plus 9 plus 3 plus 4 is going to be 16. This is going to be 43. All right, so our answer is going to be B. Now let's go on to number 18. In 2000, the population of West Virginia was 1.8 million. If the ratio of the population of Georgia to that of West Virginia was 9 to 2, in which population category was Georgia? All right, guys, this is just a ratio problem, so let's get right into it. Let's see. So we have the population of Georgia, I'm going to call it G, divided by the population of West Virginia. So we know the ratio is going to be 9 over 2. Then they give us the population of West Virginia was 1.8 million. So this is going to be 1.8 million. And then we need to figure out what it would be for Georgia. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply here. So I'm going to have 2x equals 9 times 1.8 million. All right, and we can plug into our calculator. We're going to figure out that 2x is equal to 16.2. And let's see, give me some more space over here. Therefore, x equals 16.2 divided by 2, which is going to be equal to 8.1. And that's going to fall within this range E, which is 8.0 to 9.9 million. So the answer is going to be D for 18. Okay, for number 19, the number of states in the 2 population categories C and D was approximately what % greater than the number in the 4 population categories from E through H? All right, guys, this one can be a little bit confusing at first because honestly, there's just a lot of words, and it's not totally clear how we're going to get this percentage, right? So let's just go ahead and start by figuring out what they're trying to tell us here. So the number of states in the 2 population categories C and D. So let's see here, C plus D. So C is going to be 12, and D is going to be 3. So the total for C and D is going to be 15 states, right? Okay. Now for E through H, let's do that. So it'll be E plus F plus G plus H. So I know that E has 4, F has 1, G has, let's see here, G has 2, and H has 4. So altogether, this is going to be, let's see here, 11 states. All right, guys, so let me go ahead and just put it up here. We'll have C plus D equals 15, and then E through H, this dash just means through, it's going to be 11, okay? So let me just go ahead and give us some more room here because we will actually need it. Okay, so now what we're going to need to do is we're trying to figure out what % greater than, let's see here, the number of states in 2 population categories C and D was approximately what % greater than the number in the 4 population categories from E through H. So let's try to think about this mathematically here. We need, let's see here, 11 multiplied by some percentage, right? So I'll say some percentage. Well, hang on, let me do this here. 11 times some percentage. Whenever you add it to itself, that has to equal 15, okay? So does that make sense? This is kind of, if it doesn't make sense, feel free to comment below, but what we're gonna do here is we're going to subtract 11 from both sides. I'm gonna have 11x equals 4, and divide both sides by 11, and I'm gonna get x equals 4 divided by 11, okay? Now, the thing here is that whenever I divide these two values, I'm gonna get a decimal. So 4 divided by 11 is going to be 0.36. And then we want this as a percentage, so I'm just going to say 0.36, multiply that by 100%, and I'm going to get 36%. All right, so our answer is going to be A. And again, the biggest thing here is just recognizing we're basically trying to figure out if I take a percentage of 11 and then I add it to itself, what percentage will give me 15, okay? So a little tricky there, but again, remember, these are the harder problems, so don't worry about it. Okay, so question number 20. The median of the 50 state populations was in which population category? All right, guys, I'll be honest with you. This problem actually tripped me up when I first did it. I actually got it wrong and couldn't find the solution anywhere. And I realized that I was actually reading it incorrectly, okay? So actually tripped me up, but let me show you what the way to think about this. Okay, so the median of 50 state populations was in which population category? So guys, we're trying to figure out state populations, okay? So let's talk about like category A, for example, all right? Let's see here. There's 15 states that fall within this number of people, right? Okay, here's the thing. Each state is gonna have a different population, okay? So that means that there could potentially be 15 unique populations just for category A alone, okay? So what that means is that in terms of data points, we could have up to 50 different data points, okay? Because there's 50 states, and again, it's unlikely that each state's gonna have the exact same population, right? So the best way to go about doing this is what we'd have to do is basically just list off, all 50 data points, right? And then we could just cross them off until we get to the middle, right? That's how you'd normally do it. Now, that's a lot of data points, and I don't have time to write out 50 of them. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm just gonna kind of do some estimation here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is figure out, okay, well, the data points that I'm actually interested in is going to be these large ones to the right and the small ones to the left, okay? So in terms of median values, what I'm going to do is start with the maximum population size, okay? So it's going to be H. So H is going to be to the right here. So I'm going to have 4 H's, right? And again, H is just representative of these data points that could be anything from 14 over, and there's going to be 4 of them, okay? So we'll say 4H right there. All right, and then I'm going to say, let's see here, 2G, 2Gs. And then I'm going to have, let's see here, 1F. So I'll just put F. And then I'll have, let's see here, 4 E's. And then I'll have 3 D's. And then I will have 12 C's. And then I'll have 9 B's. And then I will have 15 A's. Okay? I'm just going to put these in parentheses so that it's a little bit clearer to see what I'm doing here. Again, this is supposed to be 12 here. 12. All right. So with this in mind, we're just going to do the same thing to our max and minimum values, okay? So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to get rid of these maximum values and these minimum values, okay? Now remember, we're going to do 1 to 1, right? So 1H takes out 1A. So that means that now we're going to have 11 A's, and then we're going to have 9B, 12C, 3D, 4E, 1F, and then 2G's, okay? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out all these here. So I'm going to take out 2G, I'm going to take out F, and I'm going to take out 4E, and then I'm also going to take out 3D here, okay? So now what I'm going to have is this is going to be 3 plus 4 plus 1 is going to be 8 and it's going to be 10. So I'm going to have 1A, 9 Bs, and 12 Cs. Okay, 12 Cs. All right, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to get rid of this A and get rid of 1 C. So now I'm going to have 9 Bs and 11 Cs, okay? So guys, if we were to list out all of these and we were just going to go cross off 1B, cross off 1C, right, until we got to the middle, we would run out of Bs and we would be left with 2 Cs, all right? So 2C is our leftover data points, and then we would just obviously figure out those 2 data points, add them up, and divide them by 2, right? But again, it's not asking for an exact value, it's just asking for the category that would be in. And since C is the only one that's left behind, the population category has to be C, all right? Okay, guys, so that one was very tricky, I'm gonna be honest with you, but again, not impossible, but if you have any questions, again, please comment below so I can answer them, and I'll see you in the next video.